What it is, you guys, it is your girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Hoping, because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before all face too bleak. It's your girl Cadillac. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory today is mine. Hey, I told Satan, get thee behind. Oh, victory today is mine. My mama used to get it, boy, in that choir with that clapping. I can't even do it, y'all. I can't clap like my mama used to clap. Oh, girl. And she used to show us. She used to say, you cuff your little hands, and then you clap them like you're cuffing the air together, girl, and then you just clap. And you'd be like, victory is mine. Yeah, victory is mine. Y'all, I couldn't sing, so they had me be a usher, girl. Anyways, I'm just playing. But that song has been in my spirit all day long. So not only was that on the playlist beside Mahalia Jackson that we had to listen to in my mama's minty van, or that shake, 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 shake the devil off. Girl, in the red minivan. I used to call it Clifford the Big Red Van. But not only was that one of the songs that bring me back to my childhood, girl, there is a testimony behind that song, Victory is Mine. Okay, let's go back. The year was, girl, what year was it? All these years are bunched together because they moving so fast. The year was 2021. Yeah, it was 2021. So come with me. Okay, so we were getting off the cusp of the shutdown. So the shutdown happened. Oh, yeah, girl. I was in... I almost want to tell a whole different story. But I was an intern at this church, and my little guy that used to be the one that was basically training me was named Shadrach. And baby, he kept that office hotter than a furnace for real. But yeah, so that's how I remember. So in that early part of 2020, I was in college. I am the 20-year college student, right? I started college in the year 2000. 99 into 2000. No, I graduated high school in 99. And then in 2000, I started college. I did not graduate until 2020. Well, would have been 2020. Except for, girl, that shutdown made me fail. Like, for real, I couldn't believe that the lady had done felt me. I'm like, lady, do you know what the jail I've been through trying to get through college, and you gonna fail me, like, for real? But yeah, I know that was that tough love. So I had to repeat my last class. I had to repeat it, but it actually was everything works together for the good. Yes, like, for real. So anyways, I didn't graduate till 2021 because of that. Because at the shutdown, I was trying to focus on my college work, but then I had my nephew that I was helping with taking care of. You know, everybody kids is my kids, like for real. So when everybody was put out of school, he was in like the second or third grade, and I would sit there with him all day trying to finish his work, which made my work, which I was in graphic design classes. Everything is hands-on. It is weird as jail doing graphic design classes where you're printing projects, you're cutting paper, you're mounting boards. and then you're just thrown online. Like, how does that even work in the online space? And Zoom was not a thing that anybody understood, but that's what happened. My classes abruptly was switched from in person, hands on, to online. So it was weird. So I failed, right? So that makes me the 21 year. Well, no, it didn't take the whole other year. So we gonna say I was the 20-year college student, right? I finally graduated. Yes, and we had a drive BY graduation where you drive your vehicle past the stage. Your families let you out, and then you walk across the stage, and then you take pictures, and then you jump back in the vehicle and go home. Like, for real. But literally, I had graduated in 2021. I was so proud. I could not believe I did it. I knew my mother. Y'all know I'm sorry, it's hard for me to stay on track. I got so many testimonies intertwined. But you might or you might not know how my old self ended up back in college at age 34, going on 35. Girl, because I had to drop out of college when my husband was wrongfully incarcerated. That stuff affected so much of my life. So that's why it's so much part of my testimony. Like, I can't even take it out. Even if I'm trying to make this not about prison life, it affected so much in my life. Like, for real, it does. Because a prison sentence does not just affect that person that's incarcerated. It affects the full family, right? So I had to quit college and drop out because my husband was paying for daycare. He was paying for all the needs that our daughter had, and then that was snatched from us, which meant I had to figure out how to be mother and father at that point. And I became a single mother overnight, right? Single mother out there by force, not choice. Know that you can make it, but the choice is yours if you never give up, never throw in the towel. To keep your head up, you make it out somehow. But yeah, I had to figure this out. That was my mother's famous words to me. Kiddo, figure it out. Like, for real. That was that tough love. So to go back at 34 after dropping out that many years ago, so it was like 16 years lapse, right? And it was completely different. Like, girl. So to finally graduate, and not to mention disabled, being a graphic designer, not an easy thing to do when you're legally blind. Not an easy thing to do when you got carpal tunnel. And we had to, at the first semester, I remember Mr. what was his name, Sosa? He would have a come to Jesus. Yes, he would have a come to Jesus meeting at the end of every semester. And it's real talk. Are you going to be able to do this or are you not? And they sat me down and they was like, I'm so sorry. You ain't going to be able to make it in this industry. I'm so sorry. And it's nothing personal. It's a fast-paced industry. You're not going to be able to keep up. So that's why I've always been trying to be a content creator and freelancer online and stuff. So they were right about me not being able to keep up in the industry. But I finished school. That was at the beginning of my college career. And I graduated 2021. So that's another testimony nested inside of a testimony. Nested inside of another testimony. Like, all the goodness of God. Like, for real. So 2021, Just walked across that stage. That was nothing like I had done imagine. I used to be like, oh, I remember I worked at the theme park and me and a homeboy used to laugh. I'd be like, look, if anything happened to me, you gonna have to, even if I pass away, y'all gonna have to push my little box cross the stage, like for real. Like I'm getting across that stage, but that is the way I graduated in 2021 is not, I couldn't have synced that, girl. I could not have synced that. So all that to say, the most glorious time. I was so excited. When I went back, I actually, now this is crazy. Oh, it was so much warfare about getting back into school. And I almost said, just forget it. It's too much. That means it's not meant to be. But I overcame it. It was so much, but that's a whole nother testimony, right? And when I got back into school, I felt like finally in my life, I finally made my mother proud. You got to understand, I'm my mother's child that just can't get it right. I don't know. I only have one child. But those that have multiple children, you know how you might have one that just launches and the other one just like, what the hell are you doing, girl? Like, I just can't. And I try. It just don't come together, like for real. But was it really coming together? And I just didn't understand it. So this is the miraculous thing about the Lord. Like, you think you're losing and you think the doors are shut in your face. But later you learn that shut doors were blessings and open doors could have been the end of you, right? So you don't understand to past tense. Like how they said hindsight is 2020. That's how you understand the hand of God in everything in your life, right? So, but that at that point, it felt like I just couldn't get it together for nothing in the world. I tried everything. I tried my my cosmetology career, and that was shut down like at the beginning of cosmetology school, right? And I still finished. I was riddled with carpal tunnel, and I'm like, the what? Like, for real? I was the best in the whole class. The whole school used to gather around me and watch me. What in the world is she doing next? Like, and a lot of stuff out there, I know I did that. I know that's me. That was my signature. That's me. Those are my styles, but people are, making it off of it. But that's fine. So, felt there. I'm going to be a rapper. I was the hottest rapper out of Orlando, right? That failed. Pursued my art. Pursuing content creation. Like, everything is like, girl, get a job. Like, I always had to keep a job. But really, she was like, why don't you just do something that works? Like, for real. So, almost like, have you ever watched that show, Girlfriends? Lynn. That's me. I'm Lynn all the way around, except for, I'm not biracial, but I am Lynn. Like her character. That's me. Girl. And you know how she just couldn't quite launch? Like Joan was the successful this, and the other one was successful at that. And she was just the, the free-spirited artist type. That's me all day long, girl. So to finally go back to school, I felt like that was the first time I made my mother proud. And right after that come to Jesus moment with my teacher, my mother passed from negligence from an outpatient surgery the week in between finishing my first semester and starting my second semester. At 53, like nobody expected this. This was way left field. But the first time I made her proud, and I wanted to drop out then. Like, I literally could not drop out. And I had the phone in my hand and I was trying to drop my classes, and it was like the phone just kept falling. I could not drop out. I finally did drop those classes, but I returned, right? And a lot of that, being in school and distracted with all this classwork, did help me through my mother's untimely passing. But I made my mother proud, and I finished college. A lot of the motivation was I made my mama proud that one time. So all that to tell you how this moment was. But when you in those moments, the enemy has a way of just snatching you back, right? And it do be a test. It's a test. It don't feel like it's a test in the moment. In the moment, it feels like my reaction is like, dang, I should have knew nothing good could happen for me. Man, I should have knew when all this good over here happened that, of course, something bad had to happen, because that was just the way my life was set up. So I finally graduate. My father seen me graduate. And even though he was like, do I really have to come? I'm like, it's not the long regular one. This is just a little dry BY graduation. Like, gonna take us about 30 minutes. Like, for real. So yes, you have to come. So back to the off the cusp of 2020. Our loved ones being locked down. We hear all these horror stories about how our loved ones are being treated behind bars. And already, the moment something like that happens, you losing contact with your loved one. You don't know what's going to happen to them. And you allegedly can't take those folks' word for it. Y'all trust them if you want to. I don't trust them worth jail. I know to y'all, they the good guys, keeping y'all safe, keeping us safe, locking up the guilty, keeping the guilty and the innocent in prison, allegedly. But I don't trust it. You'll never find out what happened to your loved one. You will never find out the truth, honestly, allegedly. My opinion only. But and they stopped visitation. So all of 2020, we did not see our loved ones, except for the very beginning before the shutdown. My husband was in maximum security, about two hours away. Ironically, where he's at now. But it's not the maximum security anymore. They done opened up camps behind it, because girl, we got to get all these camps up and running, because we got to have so many peoples filling up these beds, like, for real. So they got an open prison behind a prison, like, girl. Okay. But back then he was in maximum security, which was crazy, right? So he does his max time and he's back to general population. He's no longer on close management. That as well was injustice for him to even be a maximum. But when your loved one is in their hands, you ain't really got no say in what happens to them. But we do fight for them, because those who don't have family members fight for them are the most already happens to them. And nobody on the outside don't too much care, because most people outside looking in that don't even pay attention to prison population feel like they're throwaways. They shouldn't have did what they did. So pretty much whatever. As long as you're keeping us safe, treat them however the jail you want to treat them. Treat them inhumane, allegedly, if you want to. Even though that's not your call, because they're already, I'm telling you, prison is already its own punishment. And some don't deserve that punishment. And some are being punished to an extent that they don't deserve, because the crime that they committed was not that was not what they were deserving of for that crime. They're already doing their time, and to be honest with you, that is enough. It's not easy to do time, but you will never find out what happened to your loved one. Sorry to tell you that. So when they finally open visitations back up, I was going to see my husband finally after a whole year and something, girl. Right? And when they released him from the maximum, and they weren't really like transferring them too, due to that shutdown. It was hard to get them transferred. That was backed all the way up. So he had to do more max time. So he was off of his punishment of close management, but he was still in the custody of close management, right? So when he finally gets released, they send him to the Florida, Georgia, Alabama line. The what? Like, he ain't never been that goddamn far from the house. Almost 7 hours away. And with traffic, it definitely is 7+ hours. I finally get a visitation, get it scheduled, because then you had to start. That's when they started making us schedule visitations. Prior to 2021, you didn't have to schedule visitations. You just show up. But I don't know why they maintain that, but they still like doing that. It doesn't, I don't know. So I drive all the way up there, and I'm like gassing up, because these are the backcountry woods of Florida, Georgia, Alabama. Don't want to break down. Don't want to run out of gas, right? So I'm finna head on. I'm almost there when I get a call saying that the unit's on quarantine. So just go, turn around and go home. The what? I just drove 6 hours away. So I gassed up and drove back home. 12-hour drive and did not see no Marcello Jackson. That really hurt my feelings. I was crying. I'm like, I'm so over this, like literally. But I'm a trooper for real. I scheduled the next time when they finally get off of quarantine, and I get ready to go up there to see Marcello. I get all the way there. I stop and I gas up, and I'm like, and this is where you're bracing yourself, because you're like, wait, things are going too good. It gotta be something around the corner, because that's what always happens. And then people say, oh, that's only because you're negative, so you're bringing that in. No, baby, I don't care how I feel about it. When I'm negative, positive, when I think nothing could go wrong, it still happens. So think positive and negative happen, think negative and negative happen. That's how it's been in my life. Maybe your life is set up different, right? But that's how my life been. So I'm like, I'm actually going to see him? I get all the way up there. Girl, you go through several stages of security, right? I couldn't remember my visitation number. I used to remember it like my phone number. But because we hadn't visited, I was like, do I even have my visitation number right? I couldn't even remember. They was like, oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry. Just go ahead. They just let me walk around the metal detectors. I love that part. Remy Ma. No, I'm just playing. It just fit right there. I love that line. Walk around the metal detectors. But no, I went through the metal detectors, but they was like, oh no, don't worry. They just, because they can make your life a living jail going through the metal detectors, or they can, so it's like, no worries, no worries. So they just warned me. They put they put the pin in for me. And then they had walked me into, the pat was like quick. It wasn't no crazy pat down. It was so fast, and they wasn't taking a long time. This is when they had the distancing. It was a plexiglass. Not only, usually you sit on opposite side of the big old huge table, and then you gotta do like this the whole thing. Right? So this time it's a plexiglass in between the table, like a partition thing. And we're visiting, and I was so excited because that's when I was telling him that Orlando had just opened a conviction integrity unit, and that he might be somebody that, because they were saying that those on D-row and those with very long sentences could possibly, they would be considered first for having their cases open back up without having to have newly discovered evidence. They could just have a second look, and with that second look, that's when they're gonna find all that stuff that they did to secure this wrongful conviction. But see, wrongful conviction stands so long because once you seal the package, it's almost like a Ziploc bag. Once you zip that up, it's about over. It's over. It's going in the freezer and it's gone. You're wrongfully convicted until somebody can unzip that bag and see the spoil, the mess, the trash that is in there. So I'm so happy to tell him about that. He's like, how have you been? I hadn't seen him in a million years, it felt like. And we got the first little hug and kiss because he was asking, can we hug? I don't even know. Did they let us kiss? I think it was just a peck. I don't know. They may or may not have let us kiss because of what was going on in 2020. And we sat down. I mentioned the conviction integrity unit to him. And the next thing I hear is my license plate number. I'm like, they calling me for? Maybe I parked in the wrong spot. That's what I'm thinking. They pulled me out. I'm like, I'll be right back, Marcello. The jail, I would be right back. They said, ma'am, this is to notify you that dogs hit on your car. The DRUGS dogs. My car? You talking about me who ain't never had a smoke or drink or nothing in my life? You telling me dogs hit on my car? That's like telling me that dogs hit on Jesus' car. Like, for real, because I never did that. Ever. That's not me at all. And when my father heard it, he's like, yeah, that's a lie. Because we know you don't do none of that. You've never done that. It's just never been a part of me. And I don't look down on anybody that ever has. But I just never did that. So how the jail dogs hitting on my car? I literally did not. Girl, the man, this big old huge Mike Zagowski looking officer in plain clothes, it was like, you got in your car, you got dope. He kept saying DOPE, and I'm like, what is dope? I didn't even know what it was. I had to ask my cousin what it was. I didn't know exactly what DRUG was slang, what that was slang for, DOP was slang for. But they telling me I got this in my car. Like, okay, so like, where's the dogs? I'm the 20-year at that time prison wife. I've been around these dogs multiple times. I know how it is. I know how you bring them around the cars. I done seen this many times. I done had it where they put you up against the gate and they had the dogs smell up on you. I done been through. So where the dogs? Because I know you got the dogs on hand. Show me. Can you show me the dogs hit on my car? It's Florida is hot. We put the dogs up. So you brought me in that quick. You ran right to my car with the dogs. The dog hit on my car. And you were quickly able, before me and Marcello could finish kissing, able to put the dogs back up where they're nowhere in sight. And then pull me out. Like, come on now. And I knew they thought I was DUMB. So they like, so we got to search your vehicle. I'm like, the jail you are? Search my vehicle? Girl, though I don't have nothing in my car, I just told you how I don't, you ain't going to find out the truth about your loved one. You think they going to be up and up about that? I honestly felt like they was finna PLANT something in my car. My husband's already wrongfully incarcerated. I know how this works. You accuse me. My word means nothing. Evidence don't have to align, and I get convicted of it. Or I have to plea, and I just graduated last week. Are you freaking kidding me? You think I'm going to pick the ripe old age of 39 to have my first jail experience? Like, for real? I have zero record. And you think I'm going to wait till I graduate college finally, and then this is when I want to go ahead and go to jail. And then, girl, or plea out and have me a record now when I never had a record my whole goddamn life. So the man's like, we gonna search your, I'm like, well, you gonna lose your visitation. So this is how we raised our daughter together, with prison visitation. So it meant a lot. I'm like, so I ain't gonna see him, and he's wrongfully incarcerated. So he has forever until Jesus comes back before he's home. So that means I ain't gonna see him for some decades. But so it was a lot. It's like, this kind of the only thing that we have as a family, or let you search my car and then you put some in my car and then I'm off to jail. And then I have a record anyway, so now I can't even visit him anyway. So I'm just sitting on the little visitor bench. And he's like, ma'am, we gonna search your car? You gonna sign the paper? You go, sign the paper. Find anything in your car. Find anything in your car. You going to jail. 7 hours away on the Florida, Georgia, Alabama line. You finna take me way up there to go to jail? Like, girl, like, we couldn't do this in Central Florida. I couldn't be at 33rd. I got to be up there, like in jail. My first day? You kidding me? So I'm just sitting there. He's like, ma'am, we got you gonna let us search your car, or are you? And I was like, no. I can't consent to that. And what's so crazy, by me being the OG, I know they were supposed to have paperwork. They ain't had no paperwork. They just told me to basically go and get out of here. Didn't have me sign nothing. So it was bogus. It was bogus. And then I could not wait till Monday came, and I asked for that report, and no agency, not one, had a call on anybody calling anybody on me. So who was this plainclothes officer, right? So as I'm walking away, I'm crying now, because literally, to you it means nothing, because you get to raise your family with, your family. And I know it's my fault, because we shouldn't have did what we did, but I don't know what the jail we did honestly, by him being innocent, but you refuse to believe that. So you just treat me as accordingly. You treat me as a criminal, because the prison wives are treated just as the loved ones. I mean, as those incarcerated. We're also considered to be the lowest of the low, honestly. If you don't know, now you know. So I'm like, going away, I'm crying. And oh gosh, I'm about to run out of time. I'm too long winded. I'm so sorry, guys. But I gave y'all multiple, multiple testimonies. So the guy walks, he says something to me. He says, well, I don't know if you're visiting your father or your husband, because me and my daughter are the only ones visiting Marcello. Like, whether he's close, far, we were the only ones. But your visits are terminated indefinitely. And that's all around the state of Florida. Bye. And he smiles at me and basically like, go and get out of here. Well, gotta make a long story short now. When you refuse a search, and now I know the real way that was supposed to be done, I was supposed to request a uniform officer. Don't know if it would have went any better, but I was supposed to request that they have a uniform officer search my vehicle. It's still, I don't know, but that's how you do it. And because I refuse, if you refuse the search of your person, which I've been strip searched, that was so humiliating. But, and you also have to sign for that too. You have to sign that you're refusing a strip search or you're complying with the strip search, right? They were only supposed to suspend our visits and then give them back automatically. So a certain period of time. But like I told you, they do what they want to do. This is their own world, because you in society don't care about people in there. They know that, allegedly. So they treat anybody behind those walls however they see fit, allegedly, for entertainment purposes. So this is why we can't get justice, because look who we're asking for justice for. I can't even advocate for my husband online because y'all calling me all types of names and saying I'm criminal and he's criminal and he has to be criminal because he's in jail. You won't even listen to my story. So what do you think when I'm advocating about how they're mistreating my loved one in there? How far you think I can get with that? We don't get far. Taylor House Publishing done covered several stories of people being incarcerated and either being deleted. The lady got her arm broken. That's not that. So you are so against criminal activity, but why do you condone that? That is criminal. That is way above. That is not keeping you safe, allegedly. That's not keeping you safe. But you can't get nowhere with these folks. You get injustice for justice. If heaven was hell and vice versa. If I told you go to heaven, would you say I cursed you? It's vice versa. You get injustice for justice, allegedly. So they were supposed to restore our visits. And the time came and you fill out a new application. Oh, baby, they gave me the runaround. Kept telling me they lost my application. And, oh, no, you didn't do this. Or you got to send another one. Oh, we don't take paper applications no more. Oh, you have to do one online now. And it was the entire most. And finally, they get it. And I do have the video where I had literally, I went in writing a letter and basically was like, look, Visitations are basically our family dinners. I had to raise our daughter with my husband through prison visits from age 9 months till she's 20 now. And that's all we had. That's how, and I went 20 years with no infractions. While you had prison wives sneaking in the closets with their husbands or boyfriends or whatevers, we weren't doing that. When you had people bringing in stuff, contraband, we were not doing that. Never did anything that we were not supposed to be doing, because we always, number one, it's not my character. You ain't finna get me to do nothing wrong. Number two, it was too much to lose, because he is a long timer. And if you lose visitation, you lose pretty much your family time together. You have nothing left but very expensive phone calls and now emails. And I have carpal tunnel. It's harder for me to email than to write. I wish they hadn't stopped the letter writing, but they did. So you no longer can write your incarcerated loved one. You have to type. And baby, the email ain't worth sending, because it's going to be hello. And then my hand going to go numb. I put pictures, and it wasn't just words. I had pictures from our very first visit together when our daughter was just 9 months, to her standing as tall as Marcello with our grandchild. That's how much time they took from us. And that's how much time we overcame it in the way we had to. So we had to visit this way. I made a collage of it, and I put it all together, pleading to the warden to please restore our visits. I keep calling. No, the warden hadn't checked it yet. No, and then basically, sometimes it get nasty with you. He'll get to it when he feels like it. Basically, it's that type of energy. And I'm like, I really just want to. I hate our lives being in their hands. I hate that they are over us like this. And it demeans you, and it makes you feel like you are nothing. But they got that power over you. So I'm like, you know what? I told y'all, when I can't have something, by all means, I'm not going to beg you. So it is what it is. Marcella, I see you when Jesus come back. So finally, the warden gets it. And he's like, yeah, I looked over everything. I decided not to restore your visits. Y'all wrongfully terminated them and tried to wrongfully arrest me, but you decided not to? Okay. So I made a pleading video. I'll try guys to put the links, but I never get to it. But eventually I'm gonna get better. So you might see one or two links. You might not. If you want to see the links and it ain't there, just drop me a little comment. Say, girl, where your link at? You told me to go check the link, girl. But it was so crazy. So I got that news that no, we're not going to restore your visits. Marcella has almost 20 more years to go. So basically at this point, we have not much left, right? To speed it up, I made a plea video of people please helping me. If you never would think about signing his petition before, please think about it now, because they doing some crazy stuff. Like, please, can you please, if I could just get this movement going, I could get him home and I could be done with this, and then possibly helping others that are wrongfully incarcerated. And I could move on with my life too. and he can move on with his life. Like, you can help us salvage some of this time, and not like when wrongful conviction stories break and people are like, why didn't somebody help them? It's because nobody will listen and we have no voice. That's why nobody helped them. That's why so many are incarcerated. Check out my video. I've covered 32 wrongful convictions, 32 plus. And they all pretty much, nobody would help them. Nobody would listen to them, right? So I went to sleep, and in my dream, I heard, victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory today is mine. I woke up. And I woke up singing it. I'm like, yeah, I told Satan as I'm waking up to get thee behind. Victory today is mine. I was like, yeah, this is going to work out. Didn't know it. But right after a warden, we ain't talking about a preschool teacher. We ain't talking about pastor. We talking about a warden. A warden that sees us like this. We less than the dirt up under his nail. Martell's like, why can't we have our visits together? Like, she's the only one that sees me, comes to see me, and you Xing her out. He said, all right, I'll restore your visits. What? Huh? God made a warden. So this is where God has the final say. God made a warden, cold-hearted, turned his mind, and he changed, and he went back on his decision. How many times you think that happened? That's God. That doesn't happen. All right, guys, it's your girl Cadillac.